Some time ago, two tyrants wed, and soon thereafter, the truth was dead. They stopped at nothing to claim a win, and waged a war against their kin. But now we hear sweet justice call. It's time now for the tyrant's fall. So I don't know if you've heard by now, I mean, it's not exactly breaking news anymore, so you probably have, but Meghan and Harry have yet again released an entirely unnecessary and uncalled for statement. This time regarding the now, notorious, famous, record-breaking, I hear, South Park episode. In other news, Harry wants an apology in exchange for his attendance at the coronation. So there was a rumor last week that the Sussex's lawyers were eyeing the episode, giving it the side eye, looking over it, ready to pounce on any reason to sue. I mean, first of all, you can't sue over something that is clearly satire and parody. But I wouldn't put it past them to try. After all, there is also the rumor that Harry personally contacted the creators of South Park demanding that they not release the episode. I'm not hearing a statement denying that rumor, so I guess that makes it true. But back to that lawsuit rumor. According to the Sussex camp, that rumor is absolutely boring nonsense. Yeah, like your Netflix docuseries and your book.
Wah.
The thing is, they are both so notoriously litigious that the news didn't even sound implausible to me, regardless of the fact that they have absolutely zero grounds. Harry is still waging a pointless legal battle against the UK government for security, costing the British taxpayer hundreds of thousands of pounds to date. And I say pointless because as he and his wife have demonstrated time and time again, they don't need their own dedicated security detail every time they're in the UK for official royal engagements, because he already gets it. They already get it as a family, simply by virtue of being in attendance at those royal functions. Anyways, listen, honestly, I've waxed lyrical about this baseless judicial review, but what I will say is I really hope it gets thrown out in the end, and I hope he gets slapped with a hefty cost order. So, back to the main topic of this video, the tyrant. It's a word that many of us have used to describe the despotic behavior of these two middle-aged, bitter, sullen, nasty, vindictive, entitled, spoiled brats. And this latest South Park, lawsuit rumor got me thinking about the countless times that Harry and Meghan have sat in front of the world, on a world stage, may it be in an interview, a podcast, even an article, and lobbed baseless accusations, entirely unfounded. There is no supporting evidence whatsoever other than their flapping pie holes, levied against their own flesh and blood. We're not talking about strangers here. We're not talking about the media or journalists. We're talking about members of their immediate family. And as we have said numerous times before, that's pretty much what their entire existence is predicated upon. But as soon as someone else dares speak the truth about them, never mind the defamatory and disparaging accusations that they personally have been spewing, when that happens, they swiftly wield their metaphorical, tyrannical sword to silence these truth tellers. And if that doesn't personify tyranny, then I truly don't know what does. There is an entire list of people that Meghan and Harry, but mostly Meghan, has personally tried to silence time and time again, resorting to extreme measures in certain instances, simply because they came out and either disagreed with what she said or flat out honestly called her a liar. They both tried to cancel the royal family itself after everything they've given them on the Oprah interview, accusing them of racism and sexism, which they are now conveniently backtracking out of, despite accepting the Ripple of Hope Award for standing up against racism in the royal family, only a couple of months ago? We all remember that gaslighting moment from Harry's interview, don't we? And mind you, as litigious as this couple is, they are yet to sue a single one of these people for speaking out against them. In fact, as we all know, it's quite the opposite right now. Samantha Markle is the one who's suing her sister for defamation. So it begs the question, if all of these people are spouting lies about you, why not sue? What are you waiting for? You're loaded and you're vindictive. You're fueled by this need to dominate, to control, to destroy. So of course, those of us watching from the sidelines are just going to naturally arrive at the conclusion that these people are speaking the truth. So considering all this past behavior, is it any wonder that some of us truly expected them to stoop so low as to sue the creators of South Park for satire? And honestly, just because they released a statement calling it a boring and nonsense rumor, that doesn't make their statement true. I mean, again, Meghan and Harry aren't exactly well acquainted with the truth. I can personally see Meghan and Harry screaming at their lawyers and going, "Find something!" And the lawyers are like, "We can't." And hence the statement. After all, let's not forget that this is the same woman who got a man fired for saying he didn't believe her. That's how petty and vindictive this woman is. All I can say is Pierce should send her a thank you note. You know, her house is going to be flooded with thank you notes at some point because she practically elevated his career and he got his own show out of it. And speaking of the truth, here's another truth for you. Nobody likes a tyrant. In all of history, tyrants are despised and eventually they're overthrown. And considering Meghan and Harry's popularity in the US, which is their home turf, has now officially plummeted lower than that of Prince Andrew's, which is a big deal considering what Prince Andrew has been accused of and the settlement that he willingly entered into, which most people consider as an admission of guilt. But this is it. This is justice. I have a bit of a personal stake in this because I've dealt with people who, like Meghan and Harry, are so entitled, so up their sorry behinds, that they truly think they can prance around the world committing crimes against people, only to then lie about it, justify it, and paint themselves out to be the victims if those crimes are ever exposed. And then the moment their victim or a third party dares to stand up against them, these tyrants, these sick, entitled people, try to bring them down in any way they can, including through more criminal activity, more harassment, more lies, and more threats of baseless, vexatious lawsuits. Now, as for Harry's insistence, for an apology if his attendance is to be expected at the coronation, it's not something we haven't heard before. He definitely said it in his interview promoting his book. But what I will say is, you got a long list of people to apologize to, Harry. And there's still a couple of months left until May, so how about you get on it and start doing your bit? Because I'll tell you from now, from what we've seen as the public, the royal family have nothing to apologize for. So you and Meghan get on that list and start sending out heartfelt apologies. Start picking up the phone, start booking, flights. You had no problem doing that to go see each other. You proudly boasted how you racked up more air miles than anyone else on the planet when you were dating, so much for the climate. But how about you start putting your money where your mouth is and practice what you preach for once in your life? I just hope the king doesn't get desperate enough to apologize. I mean, I have heard it's not going to happen and that Harry's banking on that. It's his get out of jail free card. It's his reason not to go to the coronation. They didn't apologize, so I didn't come. But you never know. The king might do it, and I really hope he doesn't because he's not wanted there. Not by most members of his family and not by his countrymen and women. Plus, I thought it wasn't safe. So, despite the Jubilee and the funeral and all the other times you showed your face here, it's not safe, remember? So stay away. Our only solace, I suppose, is that the truth at some point, whether it's now, whether it's years down the line, it always prevails. And in the end, when it does, these people, the Meghan and Harrys of the world, the Elizabeth Holmes of the world, the Amber Heards of the world, one way or another, they're always put in their place. Oh my goodness, their entitlement, their tyranny, it just stinks to high heaven. I mean, I can smell it here, and I'm all the way, you know, I'm lost beyond Pluto. You know what? I'm gonna take a leaf out of Meghan's book and just start